Sunday, Sunday. It's Sunday, 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 Sunday school. It's Sunday, 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 Sunday. It's Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Hey guys, it's Miss Waynell from that SundaySchoolGirl.com, and yes, I am basically like your super cool auntie who just happens to teach Sunday school, and I am here to get you ready for Sunday, June 21st. Hope you had a great week. Do you know what Sunday is? It is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all of the dads, grandfathers, uncles, godfathers, some of our pastors, those men who are special to us, who mean so much to us. We get to have this time to celebrate them. My father has gone to heaven, but I loved my daddy so much. I was definitely a daddy's girl, and part of the fun of Father's Day was to get my dad gifts. And so we always put thought into what we assumed he would enjoy, or maybe something that he needed. Sometimes we'd make something in school, and yes, every now and then he may have gotten an ugly tie, but it was always so much fun to see his reaction to his gifts. We all enjoy gifts, don't we? And that is exactly what our Sunday school lesson is talking about this week, the gifts of wisdom. What are gifts? You know what they are. You know them on Christmas and on your birthday. They are the things that people give you, and it doesn't cost you anything to accept the gift. They thought enough of you. They said, I think that this person would enjoy this. And they purchase those things, or they get those things, and they bring them to you. And your only job is to accept that gift and to say thank you. We are in Proverbs chapter 8 this week. And hopefully your parent or teacher has downloaded the kids pack for you. If not, ask them to do that. I give you your easy reading in here, and I want you to read the verses that we have printed in our lesson. But what we're looking at is really wisdom still. And we've been talking about wisdom. This is our third week. And yeah, we're going to talk about wisdom for a few more weeks. So get used to that. But I want you to continue thinking about what wisdom is to you. Remember, wisdom is not just what we learn in books. Wisdom is not just what we learn in school, but wisdom is learning to take that information and then knowing what to do with it. So, for example, it is knowledge to know that tomatoes are a fruit. A tomato is not a vegetable, it's actually a fruit. But you wouldn't put that fruit in a fruit salad, would you? So wisdom is knowing that even though it's a fruit, you don't put it in a fruit salad. So that is how we learn to apply what we know. How do you do something with what you know in your head? We've been looking at Solomon, who is our writer, and he continues to help us understand that wisdom has benefits. That's what these good gifts are. And as we read Proverbs chapter 8, it's really interesting. Have you ever wondered what God was like? Do you think about God's character? What kind of person is God? Well, we learn a lot in Proverbs chapter 8 about how God operates through his son. We see in Proverbs 8, even though Solomon is writing, as you read it, you should kind of think that this sounds a lot like how Jesus behaved. Solomon is explaining the good things about wisdom, that wisdom is honest, that she tells the truth, that wisdom is always trying to do the right thing. People know that when wisdom speaks, that they're saying the right thing, right? When Jesus spoke, he always spoke the truth. He said the right things. And here's another thing about wisdom. We learn in this week's lesson, and we saw this last week, that it's like having a big treasure chest. Except if I gave you the choice and I said, would you like this treasure chest full of jewelry, or would you like wisdom? What Solomon is saying is that wisdom is better. And we know what it means to be better. We may like something, but if there's something that is better, it has better benefits, we like it more, we prefer it, we'll choose the better thing. That's what we are to understand, that wisdom, even though jewelry is great, even though gold and silver are great, and they're expensive. I want you to go and look up how much gold is. It's very expensive, but wisdom is worth so much more. Wisdom gives us the ability to think, and it gives us the ability to have good sense, to have common sense is what the Bible says. And then it goes on to say that if you respect the Lord, you will love what God loves, and you won't like the things that God does not like. And what does God not like? He doesn't like people who are full of pride, people who think that they are all that, people who are always bragging, people who are evil and do mean things, people who tell lies. Those are the people that, remember, Jesus was not that kind of person, right? I told you we learned a lot about Jesus from looking at Proverbs chapter 8. And that was not the kind of person that Jesus was. But just like Jesus, wisdom says here, I love those who love me. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, right? He loved us and we love him. Here's wisdom, and she says, I love those who love me. When we have wisdom, wisdom brings us good gifts. It's like Christmas Day. It's like our birthdays. Wisdom wants to be our friend. Wisdom is always present for us, and she makes us wealthy. What does that mean? We have a wealth of understanding as to how we can live. You hear the phrase, how do we live our best lives? We live our best lives when we do what is right and when we do what is fair. And when we do that, that is how we gain the treasure of having wisdom operating in our lives. What I want you to remember in this week's lesson is that wisdom is available to us. Wisdom is always available, and we have to take out the time to seek wisdom, to receive wisdom, and to remember that wisdom is even better than being famous or being a celebrity or having a lot of money. Wisdom is still better than all of those things, and so we should seek for wisdom. Wisdom will help us to have the skills to do what we need to do. Wisdom will help us to be successful where we need to be successful. And when we reject wisdom, we don't hurt anyone but ourselves. So remember, we saw this in Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7, that we get wisdom by asking God for it. So remember, look up and ask God for wisdom. Wisdom is not about whether you're old or whether you're young. Wisdom is about being open to God to help you to ask him for wisdom. So yes, even as a young person, I want you in your prayer time to ask God to give you wisdom, help you to learn what to say, when you should speak, when you should be quiet, when you should move, when you should be still. God will help you if you ask him. So we've got a lot more that we're going to talk about on wisdom. So I'll stop right here. I hope that every week you are writing down your definitions of wisdom, because I'm going to be interested in August as to how your definition has changed as we study in June, July, and in August. So hopefully that definition is growing and you're understanding it and we're getting better. So next week we have one more study in Proverbs. But until then, have a wonderful week. Enjoy your fathers and your other people, other men in your lives who have been father figures. Enjoy that time. And remember that wisdom does give us good gifts. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. It's Sunday, 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 Sunday school. Sunday, 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 Sunday. It's Sunday, 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 Sunday school. Changing the way you see Sunday school with that Sunday school. Girl.